Have you ever stopped to question everything you were taught about God? Every childhood lesson, every ritual, every story of heaven and hell, every concept of reward and punishment. Somewhere along the line, society, tradition, and culture packaged divinity into rules, fear, and moral obligations. But what if God is far beyond the boundaries of doctrine? What if God is not a figure to appease or a judge to fear, but an infinite, living reality present in everything, everywhere? The first step in understanding what God truly is begins with awakening. The awakening is not instantaneous, it starts as a small seed in your consciousness. It begins with a question, a flicker of curiosity: what if everything I know is incomplete? And when that question takes root, it sparks a journey that challenges beliefs, unravels illusions, and confronts the very foundations of your understanding. Many spend their lives searching for God externally, in temples, churches, synagogues, mosques, or scriptures, hoping to see signs, miracles, or manifestations. Yet the real awakening teaches us that divinity is not out there. It is in the stillness of your mind, in the silence of your heart, in the awareness of your own existence. God is the pulse behind the universe, the energy that flows through every atom, the consciousness that observes itself through life. History is full of seekers who glimpsed this truth. Mystics like Rumi, philosophers like Spinoza, and enlightened figures like the Buddha, all hinted at the same reality: God is not separate from life, but life itself. Not outside you, but inside you. And the moment you recognize this, fear loses its grip. Labels, rituals, and doctrines become optional because the truth is experiential, not intellectual. This is the first segment of awakening. Stop looking for God as something external, and start seeing God as the infinite life force that animates everything. Religion, as beautiful and comforting as it can be, is often misunderstood as the ultimate truth. In reality, religion is a map, a guide to understanding divinity, but not the territory itself. People often mistake the map for the land. They worship the symbols, the texts, the figures, and miss the essence that those symbols point toward. When you look closely, every major spiritual teaching converges on the same idea: God is love, God is consciousness, God is the totality of existence. Whether you read the Vedas, the Bible, the Quran, or the TaughtThe Ching, the message remains consistent: divinity cannot be contained in words or rituals. These tools are merely attempts to direct attention towards something far beyond comprehension. The danger arises when people use religion as a weapon, a control mechanism, or a source of fear. Do this, or you will be punished. Follow these rules, or you are sinful. These distortions trap people in cycles of guilt, separation, and misunderstanding. True awakening, however, requires letting go of dogma and embracing the mystery. God cannot be defined, limited, or owned. To see beyond religion is not to reject it entirely but to recognize its role, a mirror reflecting the infinite through symbols humans can understand. And once you step beyond the mirror, you find that God is not an object to attain but a reality to experience, in breath, in thought, in every heartbeat, in the presence of life itself. Imagine for a moment, everything you see, feel, and know, the mountains, the oceans, your own mind, is not separate from divinity. What if God is not a being, but the very consciousness that allows you to experience being? Every sensation, every thought, every act of awareness is an expression of God. Modern science begins to hint at this truth. Quantum physics shows that observation shapes reality. Neuroscience suggests that consciousness is fundamental, not derivative. Spiritual teachings across cultures assert that awareness is the core of existence. When you meditate, when you observe your mind without judgment, you touch this awareness. And that awareness is God, not as a distant figure, but as the intimate, immediate reality of your own life. Understanding God as consciousness changes everything. There is no need for external validation. There is no need to appease. Life itself becomes sacred because everything is a manifestation of the same infinite intelligence. Your actions, your thoughts, your intentions, they ripple through the same reality, and every choice matters. This is not a concept to memorize. It is to experience. Every moment of awareness, every act of love, every expression of creativity is a direct communion with the divine. God is not waiting somewhere else, God is already here, inside you, flowing through you, witnessing you. If God is consciousness, then love is its most tangible expression. Love is the force that binds atoms, galaxies, and human hearts. Love is the energy that connects you to everything else. Every act of kindness, every moment of empathy, every gesture of compassion is a spark of God manifesting in the world. This is why awakening is inseparable from love. You cannot truly know God without love. You cannot awaken to reality while harboring hatred, fear, or resentment. These emotions are distortions, they veil the clarity of consciousness. Love dissolves these veils. Love is not transactional, it is not earned or owed. It simply is, and through love, the infinite expresses itself through your limited form. Think about the great saints, teachers, and enlightened beings. Their lives were defined not by possessions or power, but by love in action. Their divinity was not in performing miracles but in living in harmony with consciousness, in acting with compassion, and in seeing the divine in every being. One of the hardest truths to grasp is that separation is an illusion. From birth, you are conditioned to see yourself as separate, from nature, from others, from God. Yet awakening shatters this illusion. You are not isolated, you are a wave in the ocean of existence. Every person you meet, every creature you see, every object in the world is part of the same totality. When you understand this, your actions change. Competition gives way to cooperation, fear gives way to trust, and judgment gives way to understanding. You realize that harming others is harming yourself, helping others is helping yourself, and loving others is loving the very consciousness that animates you. Separation is a construct of the mind. Awareness dissolves it. And when that separation dissolves, you feel a deep connection with all of life, a realization that you are not apart from God, you are God expressing itself in infinite forms. Language and thought are powerful, but they are inherently limited. Words can describe mountains, oceans, or even emotions, yet they can never fully capture the immensity of consciousness itself. Similarly, no doctrine, philosophy, or belief system can truly contain God. God is not a concept to be analyzed, debated, or stored in the mind. God is a living experience, immediate, dynamic, and infinite. To truly understand, one must move beyond thought. Meditation, mindfulness, and the art of presence are the gateways to this direct experience. When you sit quietly and observe life without judgment, you begin to notice subtle rhythms, the rising and falling of your breath, the quiet hum of existence, the way time seems to stretch and fold in your awareness. In those silent moments, the boundaries between self and other blur. The walls that your mind has built to separate you from the world dissolve. You feel the pulse of life in every leaf, every raindrop, every glimmer of light on the horizon. In this state, you realize that God is not a story to recite or an image to venerate, God is the very act of perceiving, the very act of being. You feel it in the wind brushing your face, in the laughter of a stranger on the street, in the heartbeat of your own body. Every sensation, every thought, every fleeting emotion becomes a sacred manifestation of divinity. You experience God not as an object but as an omnipresent consciousness that animates all things. And the more you practice, the more this awareness deepens, permeating every interaction, every decision, and every aspect of your daily life. From childhood, many of us are taught that God rewards good behavior and punishes wrongdoing. Heaven and hell, blessing and curse, sin and virtue, these ideas have been repeated so often that we often accept them without question. But awakening challenges this view. Life itself is feedback, it operates through natural laws that are impartial and intelligent. God is not a cosmic judge sitting somewhere in the sky, tallying sins and merits. God is the totality of these laws, manifesting through reality. When you understand this, fear begins to fall away. You stop acting out of anxiety, shame, or hope for reward. Your actions are no longer dictated by external validation. Instead, you act in alignment with the natural flow of life, guided by awareness, intuition, and integrity. Every choice becomes meaningful because you recognize that reality responds to energy and intention. The universe does not punish you, it mirrors your alignment or misalignment. Every consequence, every challenge, every moment of success or failure is simply a reflection of your engagement with life's laws. Consider historical figures like Gandhi or Mandela. Their lives were not motivated by fear of punishment or desire for reward, they acted from alignment with principle and awareness of universal justice. That alignment became a force far greater than conventional notions of reward. Similarly, when you act in harmony with life itself, fear and doubt are replaced by courage, clarity, and a profound sense of purpose. Life is not random. Every encounter, every challenge, every triumph, and every loss is a mirror, reflecting the state of your own consciousness. When you feel anger, confusion, or despair, the world shows you where you are resisting, where judgment or fear dominates. When you experience joy, gratitude, and compassion, life reflects the expansion of your awareness. Every relationship, every circumstance, every event is an opportunity to see yourself more clearly and awaken further. Awakening requires learning to see these reflections without attachment or judgment. The difficult boss, the challenging relationship, the painful loss, all become teachers, guiding you to recognize patterns within yourself that need attention. Life itself becomes sacred instruction. You begin to see that suffering is not a punishment but a message, a mirror pointing toward growth. The moments that once felt meaningless or cruel now reveal themselves as integral to your awakening. When you embrace life as a divine mirror, every experience becomes sacred. Gratitude arises not only for joy but also for challenges, mistakes, and hardships. You understand that nothing happens to you outside of life's intelligence, everything is happening for you, to awaken you, to refine your consciousness, and to reconnect you with the infinite reality that underlies existence. Awakening is not merely theoretical. It is practical, tangible, and deeply transformative. When you truly perceive God as consciousness and life as a reflection of that consciousness, your decisions, relationships, and daily actions are forever altered. You live with integrity, because you see clearly that dishonesty is a distortion of your own awareness. You act with compassion, because the suffering of others is not separate from your own. You embrace courage, because fear is merely the mind resisting reality. To embody true reality is to recognize that every moment is an opportunity to live divinely. Simple acts, a kind word, a helping hand, a smile, a moment of presence, become expressions of the infinite. You begin to notice the sacred in the ordinary, the sunlight streaming through a window, the sound of rain on the roof, the laughter of children, the rhythm of your own breath. Nothing is trivial. Everything is infused with life, awareness, and love. Living awakened also transforms your perception of time. You no longer chase the future or dwell in the past. Every moment is complete, whole, and saturated with divinity. Life itself becomes your temple, your classroom, and your sanctuary. And in living this way, you no longer fear death, loss, or change, you understand them as natural expressions of the infinite flow. Ultimately, awakening leads to the realization that you are not separate from God, from life, or from the universe. You are an expression of the infinite, a unique manifestation of consciousness itself. This understanding frees you from fear, limitation, and despair. You see that your potential is boundless, that every moment carries meaning, and that every breath is sacred. Life becomes a canvas on which you paint your own awareness. Every thought, every intention, every action is imbued with the power to shape reality. The challenges that once felt insurmountable are now opportunities to deepen your understanding. Every encounter with another being becomes a chance to recognize divinity in reflection. Every hardship becomes a catalyst for growth. The journey of awakening is never complete. Each moment, each experience, each breath is an invitation to deepen your connection with the infinite. You learn to live with purpose, clarity, love, and courage. You realize that you are the co-creator of your reality, that your consciousness shapes the world around you, and that the divine is not somewhere else, it is within you, always. Remember, God is not what you were taught. God is not distant, judgmental, or constrained by doctrine. God is life, consciousness, awareness, love, and the infinite potential within every being. To awaken to this truth is to embark on the greatest journey you will ever take, a journey of clarity, purpose, and boundless possibility. When you see the infinite within, you are free. You are whole. You are alive in the deepest sense. And you realize, finally, that life itself is not something to endure, it is something to celebrate, something to experience fully, and something sacred.